AITA for reporting my classmates for joking that I have pretty privilege. Background: I'm F23, one of only a few female students in a male-dominated course. Furthermore, I am at a highly prestigious university and I haven't really gotten along with the guys on my course. They are all very competitive and I just don't really enjoy their company. Everything turns into a contest, and they definitely take me less seriously because I'm a woman. I stopped interacting with them beyond the mere minimum and choose to hang out with other people. Anyway, I did well in our recent exams. I topped 2 out of 4 exams we had so far. Our professor congratulated me during class. I wouldn't have advertised this myself. Ever since then, my interactions with a specific group of male classmates have gotten weird. They're now outright rude and challenge me aggressively in class discussions. We recently had some presentations and one of them chose to do theirs on, to put it simply, pretty privilege. They specifically pointed to 2 papers that suggested that pretty female students get overscored in assessments. The other guys in the group snickered and one even gave me a wink. Afterwards, I heard them in the hallway joking that they had experience with that, been seeing a PhD student within our department for a month. He has literally nothing to do with our course. Well, we ran into one of my course mates together. The next day in class his friend B asked me if my boyfriend helped me with exams. He said this intentionally loudly and in front of the professor, who heard this. I replied that I don't have a boyfriend, cause is not my BF, but then B pointed out that he had run into me with the PhD student, making a point to say his name. The professor knows him. I just replied that we only didn't let up. I heard that they discussed this thing in 2 more classes, in earshot of the professors. Both times they suggested I got help for my exams. I wasn't even seeing him then. I didn't confront them, but this has been causing me so much anxiety. Even without the exam accusations, I worked hard to get here and I don't want to be known among the faculty for my dating. Raised this issue with my supervisor, without the intention of taking it any further, but I wanted her advice as a woman in academia. She convinced me to let her email their supervisors, to remind them of proper conduct, and describe their treatment of an unnamed female student. She didn't name me, but they figured it out. They confronted me after class and asked me why I would report their silly joke. Apparently, their supervisors are now very cold towards them and less interested in helping. It's not a formal complaint, only their supervisors know, but one of them, C, said his supervisor writes the reports for his financial aid scholarship and it was my fault if he lost out on. Now feel a bit embarrassed, and this was compounded by a friend telling me I took it too far cause C shouldn't lose out on his scholarship. So, Reddit, AITA, edit, grammar.
If their pretty privilege joke made you lose out on a scholarship or caused you to be graded extra hard, they wouldn't give it a. They intentionally and repeatedly made this silly joke out loud, in front of professors. NTA. Maybe they should have thought about treating you with respect and professionalism before it had to come from a place of authority.
You're NTA and it wasn't a silly, it was repeated harassment and constant implications that you're not worthy of your grades and haven't earned your way to where you are. You don't deserve that and it should have been reported. It's a shame those guys are so insecure and jealous of your accomplishments, but any consequences that befall them are well earned.
Then maybe people would be more motivated to help them if they smiled more.
NTA, they know what they're doing because jokers like this have been doing it for years. Undermine your accomplishments, question your abilities and then act shocked when you stand up for yourself. I'm happy, and somewhat surprised, that the faculty and administration is treating this as seriously as it deserves. Nolite te bastardes carborundorum.
NTA, they're harassing you, plain and simple. If they lose their financial aid it's because of their own actions, not yours. You should be proud of yourself for standing up to their you autocorrect.
NTA, I am an old woman and had no resources back when I was in college and experienced this same thing. But I am so glad you do. I would report them again, and again and again, until they keep their remarks and their interactions to themselves. You won't change their minds, but you might be able to make them shut up about it. That guy deserves to lose his financial aid. Do we want that kind of misogynist to profit from that attitude? Or even despite it? My dad said something once, and he said it sadly and with obvious sarcasm, there's only one thing worse than an intelligent woman and that's an intelligent woman who is also beautiful. Quote. He was trying to explain the attitude of my peers. Of course not all men feel this way. My dad didn't and he comes from the World War II generation. But there are always men who do.
NTA, and all these men can't stand having a competent woman around. I have worked in a male-dominated field for over a decade and I want to commend you on standing up for ease you shouldn't have to put up with, and I'd start documenting. Also go talk to that first professor one-to-one and ask him not to announce your grades publicly again. I had to do that in my undergrad, and it helped immensely. Good luck, Op. Don't let these immature asshats chase you away from something you love.
NTA, if misogynists want to be awarded scholarships then they should be quiet or slightly smiling face.
NTA, any retaliation should also be reported. They're angling for some big problems if they keep this up.
NTA, they did this to themselves. Guys like that are the exact reason many women avoid certain fields. Keep fighting the good fight.
NTA, if making a silly joke is enough to lose him his scholarship, then perhaps he should think about whether it's so silly. After no, they're harassing you. They're expecting to get away with it. And they're really being dealt with very gently here. In a lot of places that kind of behavior, especially with it being done in front of staff, would get them suspended from their studies pending. A guy who might lose his scholarship is trying to guilt trip you into changing your report instead of thinking about what he did and the consequences, to himself, if he can't manage to think what it does to you and your well-being, and amending his behavior accordingly. So he's indicating that he and his friends don't feel any responsibility for there being the case. You should feel no responsibility for the consequences of showing others how they are behaving.
Definitely NTA. What they are doing is sexist and bullying. It's not your fault when C loses his scholarship, but his for behaving this way. It's so important to speak up, and you did nothing wrong. Sure, you could have confronted them directly, but with them being the majority they probably wouldn't have taken you seriously anyways.
Yes. A person losing out on scholarships because of their actions only has one to blame, and it ain't Op. This is what I came to say. They are the ones who originally brought professors into it, you just continued it. Why say anything in front of a professor if not to try and cause some kind of repercussion for you? They'd have let you get in trouble, and let you and your academic career take the fall. Would they have done it to each other? Actually answer that in your head. If the answer is no, that tells you everything you need to know. Don't give in. It wasn't a joke on their part.
Bigots have been excusing misogyny and harassment by saying it was just a joke since time immemorial. It was not just a joke, and this comment is exactly on point. They tried to torpedo Op on purpose, in front of multiple professors. Op, do not let these jokers, or your frankly terrible friend make you second-guess yourself or your integrity. You are doing great. NTA.
Marry me.
I would have gone with a very loud in front of the whole class. Are you saying that your grades are so low because of how you are? That's not right. You should report, if it were me and I was a female. It's tough to pull off bitingly bitchy when you've got a beard and are built like a fireplug.
It's mainly my awesome supervisor. Probs wouldn't have been supported by one of the many old men in the faculty.
Agree completely with you. Been working in a male-dominated field for almost my whole career, and I still get, you don't know what it's like on site. And those aren't the regulations, even when I can point to the exact part of the legislation where it says that they are been asked if I slept my way into jobs, if my dad has anything to do with my career. He's a retired pub owner, and been asked if I was grumpy because I was pregnant. No, I'm telling you to stop doing what you are doing because you are putting people in literal danger and need to stop it right now. I am more qualified than you. I could go on for hours with the weak men have tried to pull on me over the years. There are good ones who don't take it and stand up for me. Ones that would never treat me that way, but the bad ones are loud. The only way to deal with misogyny is to shut it right down. This behavior is not acceptable, and won't be tolerated in the workplace of any reputable company, their clients, or customers. Definitely document anything, and report to your professor that they confronted you about it and are blaming you for their actions, and reasonable consequences, now too, and it is creating a hostile.
NTA, maybe they should smile more so they can get in on some of that pretty privilege. On another note, Op, from a femme-presenting person in engineering, keep on keeping on, and don't let the bastards grind you down.
Op, just keep escalating this. Document everything. Call campus security on them. I'm so tired of little boys playing at being men and trying intimidation tactics.
Also, I commend your courage in defending yourself. That takes tenacity.
Came here to say this, but someone already had.
Continue to report any of their stupidity. They may double down hard to try now that they've been called out. Don't let them get away with it.
This is very true. Go back to your advisor if they retaliate in any way. Keep standing strong, you're awesome.
Agreed. If he loses his financial aid, that's obviously not as serious. It reeks of, should this student have his life ruined over a few seconds of fun?
Seriously, let your supervisor know if they continue to make boys or intentionally trying to sink your reputation with faculty, for no substantial reason. It is fair to accurately describe their behavior to your supervisor, and she can evaluate if it warrants further action. She believed it did. She described their actual behavior to their supervisors, and their supervisors get to judge exactly what the consequences of that behavior think. To remember, they are lying about you. You are telling the truth about them. Any consequences are ones they have. PS. Even if you do end up having a serious relationship with this PhD student, that still doesn't give them a legitimate reason to imply he's unfairly giving you a leg up on exams. You're the one studying, you're the one sitting those exams, not any future boyfriend you may.
Wow, my actions made me look bad.
Actually, it would work best coming from you. If a woman snaps back, boys like this count it as a win for getting under their skin. If another guy, someone they consider a peer, calls them out on their misogyny, it has a higher chance of actually penetrating the cloud of Axe body spray they think is a substitute for deodorant and reaching the two brain cells bouncing around between the group. Because now, oh no, another guy thinks we're unfunny. So please, for all the women that suffer this if you see this happen, please pull out your inner Regina George and put them in their place.
The thing is that women almost never win when making comments like this. Humiliated, nasty men just find new, more direct ways of putting women. That said, your comment is hilarious.
Most likely because she has lived it and been ignored or told she was making trouble. Keep making waves, that is the only way things change.
Please do keep her apprised of any retaliation or additional bad behavior. If they suffer negative consequences, that's completely on them. These are not jokes. This is harassment by a bunch of jealous little boys who are doing it deliberately to throw you off your game, damage your reputation, and hurt you. They deserve no or protecting yourself, as you should, and maybe, just maybe, calling them on it now will also help all the women who ever have to work with. Thank you so much, internet strangers, for your kind awards.